I want to record this video, but she's cuter than you guys. Sorry. So I've already aired my grievances about the Call to Arms event. I think they are so close to having something special here. This is just such a really, really cool event. I love the tech that was developed, but unfortunately, the portal stuff just gets in the way. So I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks in this video so you can get in, get out, and get your Flame Mohawk helmets as pain-free as possible. And I'm going to give you all the modifiers that I use for activities as well. That way you don't have to bang your head against the wall trying to spend 20 minutes deciding what you want to do. So I'm just going to kind of set the default for you and you can go from there. As you can see, I'm in the top 1% of all of the PvE activities. You can see I'm not in the Crucible activity. That's because the Crucible activity only accepts your first scored game right now. It is bugged. Hopefully they are going to fix that. But you can't just grind Crucible endlessly for better scores currently, which is such an unfortunate bug for an event like this to have. All you need to do to get the helmet is get 100 points. For every top 10% placement, you get 50 points. For every top 1% placement, you get 300 points. So you need to either be in the top 10 for 2 activities, or you need to be just in the top 1% for literally any activity. These scores will move. So if you get a score now and you're in the top 1%, this does not mean I'm going to stay in the top 1%. It entirely depends on the player base. So if a ton of people start playing and they get worse scores, that means that the top 1%, that threshold is going to come down and you'll need a lower score. But if a ton of people lock the hell in and they get really good scores, that means that top 1% threshold is then going to raise because it's, an average of everything, the top 1%. So Bungie is doing something really cool that I like, where in 10 days, with 3 days left in the event, they're going to lock the tiers. So your score is not going to be locked, but those thresholds to get top 50%, top 10%, top 1%, those are going to be locked. And so what that means is if you just want to wait till 3 days left in the event, that you can be sure that your scores will stick. I think that's just really cool. So you don't have to be grinding up until the final seconds of this event. I think that's really, really awesome. Yes, your score is determined by your light level. There's a modifier. I expect this to change. It is account level, not currently equipped character level. It is your highest account level. I expect this to change, and when hopefully this changes, I will update the pinned comment down below. Also, if I get anything wrong, I'll update that pinned comment. So there's a lot of new information, of course, as there always is with these events. So I'm of course trying to get everything right, but inevitably I will get something wrong. So I'll update that pinned comment with correct information. And if any new broken tech comes out, I'll just make a new video. So yes, if you're below 500, I would definitely focus on getting up to 500 or 550 before you start grinding this event. It sounds very daunting, but it is so easy now. I promise it is so easy now. If you just focus on things where you have these bonus engrams, especially the ones where you have 3, you're gonna just fly. The guaranteed light level stuff from Zavala, the chest next to Zavala, just grab a fire team off the LFG. I know it sucks. Or grab a team of your friends if you can convince them to play and just knock out everything with 3 engrams. In a couple of hours, you're going to shoot up. You could almost certainly go from 450 to 500 in a night. And I think at 500, you're going to be high enough to get top 10%. That is me guessing. I don't know that for sure. But there is 1 billion%, if you're anywhere in the 400s, there is enough time for you to comfortably get to 550 before the end of this event, especially because some of the event drops themselves also drop powerful. So just go grind your bonus engrams. I know the portal sucks, everyone knows, but it's really not that bad. Your light doesn't reset next season. There's still time. If don't give up on the event just because of this thing. And I do expect them to change it. Hopefully. Okay, scores. Generally, Crucible, of course, kills, captures, streaks, that sort of stuff. For the PvE stuff, the coil, salt mines, heliostat, these scores increase based off of how quickly you do them. So the modifiers matter. We'll go over the modifiers last. But the speed at which you complete the activity is very important. There's a 15% score bonus that is capped for the first 25% of the activity. So let's say you're doing an activity with a 10-minute timer, you will get that full 15% bonus until there's 7.5 minutes left. Okay? And then from that point, all the way down to 0 seconds left or 0 minutes left, it'll scale from 15% to, I believe, 5% linearly. So effectively, that's just a really nerdy way of saying complete this stuff as quickly as possible. You need to be flying, okay, for the highest scores possible. Salt Mines also has the optional objective. It is not optional. If you want high scores, make sure you are doing it. I just kept reloading until I got the like 10 ability kills one, or like 10 precision hits kind of sucks, but it's doable. And then, you know, some of the other ones can kill 40 combatants, easily doable over the course of it. But just keep reloading. If you get like 25 precision kills or whatever, restart that. That's awful. There's also an RNG spawn enemy, the VIP or the Vanguard's Most Wanted, that gives you like 400 or 500,000 points. So you can say I got 3.3 million. That would have been like 2.8, 2.9 million without that, which does mean a solid chunk of your score there, solid 1/6, 1/7 of your score is coming from an RNG enemy that doesn't spawn until the very end of the event. Have fun grinding that. It's a terrible system. And then Proving Grounds, I believe the score is heavily impacted by how many total kills you get. Once again, if I need to update anything, I will down in the comment section below. Now, I'm just going to give you my base set of modifiers that I like to use on every activity for the most part. Boons, I just, you know, leave everything as is. Player stakes, you're going to go pressure cooker. You're going to go touche, which does mean you have to use new gear. Sorry about that. I'm going to show you a warlock build and give you some recommendations here in a second. You're going to go no starting ammo. You're going to go brawn. You're going to go extinction. Now, on some of the harder events, like if you complete coil with extinction and like you guys do fine, I'm pretty sure you're just locked in the top 1%. Most people are not going to want to run this modifier because this means if you die at all, you can't get rest. It's not that bad. None of the difficulty scaling is really that hard, especially if you're above 500 for any of these activities, or above 470, I guess. And it's very doable. Okay, so seems daunting. It's really not. Then you're gonna want to have a Bane, and then you're gonna want to just like load up on stuff. So I always put the deadly threat. The element changes per activity, but the threat's always the same. Grounded, glass cannon, match game. Now, for some activities, you can put all ammo famine. On some activities like heliostat, I believe you cannot put this, so I would actually go with blasts. Glass are slow and small. I try to avoid blasts if I can, but you know, not you can't on all of them. And then a lot of people in stream yesterday were asking me why they couldn't do battlefield promotion. You can't use this with extinction because that requires someone to die, and in extinction you can't die. So that's an important distinction. So that's a modifier loadout. That's what I recommend defaulting to. You need new gear. You're not going to have a lot of ammo. So definitely make sure you're running a very ability heavy build. So for instance, I'm using the Cha-Cha slide build with Devour, with Fellwinter, so everything is going to be weakened. Mint Retrograde is disgusting. Finality's Augur is very brainless. And then make sure you have stuff like Special Finisher on, and you know, some sort of matching siphons as well. The build crafting's pretty easy. Warlock do this sort of thing. Even a lower buddy build, you can't use like any of the class items. You can't use getaways, but there are versions of the buddy build that use new gear that you can use. If you're on Titan, Worm Gods with Throwing Hammer, very great. All sorts of other builds there. Hunter, I'm not really sure, probably Lucky Pants if I had to guess, but if you want to leave your favorite builds in the comments down below, you can do that as well. But this made everything so easy. Also like Starfire with Hellion, that sort of stuff. Really not that bad. Yeah, so that's pretty much the entire event there. So all of it, with everything considered, not that bad. You just need to be really good. You need to get a really good placement in one, maybe two of the events or activities, and everything from there is kind of free. So lock in. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any more tips, leave them down in the comment section below. Love your faces, and I'll see you very soon.